brushed a stray piece of hair behind my ear and leaned toward him, inhaling the aroma of French fries mixed with bacon. "Where have you been?" I asked in a low voice, even though I could tell by the smell that he'd been cooking at his parents' restaurant. "Working." He slumped lower in his seat and folded his arms over his chest. "Maggie went into labor this morning, so you're looking at the new head cook of the Fork and Knife. Well, head cook in training, really." "Congratulations." I thought Maggie's baby wasn't due for a couple of weeks yet. I thought back to earlier in the day when I'd been working. You know, she did look kind of uncomfortable when I saw her this morning. "Yeah, her water broke soon after you left work." "Oh my," I squeaked, prompting Todd to place a finger to his lips as a reminder to keep my voice down. "Did she have the baby yet?" I whispered. She had a feeling she was having a boy, so she only picked out a boy's name. Since she was prepared to have a boy, she'll most likely have a girl. At least that's what my Nana always said. I have no idea if the baby's arrived yet or what it is. Last I heard, Maggie was still at the hospital. Wow. I tried to imagine Maggie, the meticulous, outspoken cook, holding her baby in the delivery room. Would she criticize the hospital food while she was recovering after the birth? The question lingered in my mind until Todd spoke again. "I was going to text you, but it got crazy at work." He gestured toward his stained jeans. "I knew I was already late, so I didn't bother going home to shower. I'm sorry I stink." "You smell just fine to me." I smiled at him and he shook his head. "You're crazy, Chelsea Morris." "That's why you like me," I quipped, and he grinned back at me. Music director Louise Muller's voice echoed through the auditorium as she instructed Jimmy and Brittany, the two actors who'd read for Danny and Sandy earlier. "I'd like to hear you sing Summer Nights." "Those two kind of look like Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta," I whispered to Todd. "I was just thinking the same thing." He moved closer to me. "Is your dad going to hire another cook?" Todd grimaced. "No." "Why not?" "He told me I'm the cook until Maggie comes back in 6 weeks." He gave me a look of disbelief. "What about the musical?" My voice pitched unnaturally high at the end, and I was thankful the piano was playing louder than I was talking. I didn't want Mr. Muller to yell at me before the production even began. Last year, the lead actor, who was also the quarterback of the football team at a nearby high school, got on the director's bad side early on during rehearsals, and Mr. Muller had sent him home in tears more than once before opening night. Todd held his finger to his lips again, silently cautioning me to keep my voice down. "My dad wants me to pick up more hours, not only to fill in for Maggie, but also to earn more money for college. My scholarships for you will only cover so much. And I'm just doing the lighting for Grease, so I don't need to be here every day." I couldn't help but frown at that. "It won't be the same without you here building the sets while I'm tailoring the costumes." "I promise we'll still see each other this summer." He held my hand. I loved the heat of his skin against mine. "At least we'll still work together at the restaurant. You know I'd go crazy if I didn't see you every day. I'm going to hold you to that promise." My mood brightened when he smiled. We sat in silence while a few more actors took turns singing, but their voices were only background noise as I ran through a mental list of what I'd need to get started on the costumes. First, I'd check my boxes at home and look for any costumes I could modify. After that, I'd start hitting the thrift shops and even a couple of other community theaters in the area. "Dylan McCormick," Mrs. Muller called another actor on stage, and her voice broke through my thoughts. "I'd like to hear you sing Greased Lightning." A blond young man jogged to center stage, and I surmised he was a college student using the summer production as an internship opportunity. He was taller than Todd, and he was muscular. His handsome face looked confident as he waited for the music to begin. As Dylan bellowed the lyrics of the chorus, his smooth voice drew me in completely. "He's good," I whispered to Todd. He gave a snort of disbelief while keeping his eyes focused on the stage. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked. "I know the type." Todd shifted in his seat. "He thinks he's the hotshot headliner." I studied Todd's profile. "How can you tell what he's like just by listening to him sing?" "Trust me, I can tell by his demeanor. He thinks he's all that, but he's a lot of hot air and no substance." That's not a nice thing.